Okay. Start now. 3, 2, 1.
I'm alive.
We are live. We are live.
Welcome to the first Utopia
Very
Podcast.
Welcome. So this is going to be the very first of many podcasts from Utopia Computers. So in the podcast, we're going to be going through who we are, go through some of the members, just give you an insight on what we do as a company, and I just kind of explain the stuff that's happening in the future, go through some tech that is upcoming and stuff that's already on the market, and yeah, just talk some games, that type of stuff. And well, we've got a couple of things obviously lined up for today, but with me today is Jordan, who is our... Well, who are you? Who am I? Who are you?
So thanks very much, Ryan. You know, as you're saying, the podcast gives us this opportunity to, you know, connect back with our customers again, which we maybe dropped away from a bit over COVID.
No, definitely.
So it's good to have that. So yeah, I'm Jordan. I've been working here for 12 years now. I'm the project manager, which basically means that I overview our web projects and some in-store projects as well. So we'll get some new stuff coming in the pipeline, as well as continuing to improve our online presence for everyone that uses it.
So I think the main thing that we done together with the main thing you've done a lot of was the brand new website that we launched this year. So it's very similar looking to the old website. But the actual back end of it is completely different. We're using a whole new back end, and the configuration page is the biggest point where we show you the products. I think that was a big thing that we didn't have in the old website, which I think we kind of needed to have now, especially in 2019 back then.
Moving forward with bringing new technology onto the site was a big part of what we were trying to do. Creating a code base that was not only could be easily upgraded and changed, but also allowed us to tap into some other pre-made code that was already there. Things like the images on the config obviously gave us a massive difference compared to what it was a couple of years ago when everything was just based on drop-downs. So that was a big point of what we wanted to do, trying to make our experience more visual from start to finish for the customer. And it's about continuously trying to improve that.
I think we definitely have done that.
So Ryan, one of the things that we've recently been working on is our new partnership with Scalp Esports.
Yep. So
if you can maybe tell us a wee bit about that.
Yeah, so that actually launched yesterday. So I've been kind of dealing with Johnny from Scalp, who are a esports organisation based in Scotland. Probably one of the most upcoming, not only Scottish but probably British esports organisations out there just now. They've been doing obviously incredibly well with their social media, the teams that they've got. They started off with Call of Duty originally, and that's when Johnny actually approached me with the kind of trying to deal with us at that point. I knew they were doing well, but I kind of gave them a little bit of kind of heads up, saying maybe do some more stuff. And I think from that point, he's just excelled massively. And I've been kind of overviewing all the stuff that he's been doing, having a look at all the stuff that's he's introduced into the game, and he's done extremely well. And now they've got an event upcoming in November up in Dundee. And one of the things that they wanted and kind of needed was a little bit of sponsorship to kind of help them fund these events. And what we've done as ourselves, Utopia and Kingston, have created a kind of sponsorship deal with them so that we can help them go to the events such as this. So in the sponsorship, we've got a brand. We've got the Kingston Utopia brand on the brand new away shirts, which I should be able to obviously show you guys in I don't post or something like that, but it's a really good looking shirt, probably one of the best ones we've seen in the esports, even just in football in general. It's a really nice shirt. So we've got that partnership coming up.
What games is it that they mainly focus on?
So, well, it is Call of Duty. That's definitely the one that they do a lot of. Is Call of Duty. They do a lot of Warzone tournaments. They do some Cold War tournaments as well. That's been kind of really good for them. But they've tapped into Rocket League. I think that was the second game that they went into. It was the other one, Rainbow Six, Valorant, and I think that was it. Now that's also what they've put their teams into. So they've got 4 teams going into the event up in Dundee. So we're going to support them. I'm going to be there, check out with the guys, do some interviews, just kind of get a feel for the team and just obviously give our support, more so than just the sponsorship that we've given them. So now I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it's definitely going to be a really good partnership with us.
No, it sounds really good, and obviously Utopia is extremely proud to be a Scottish company, and being able to work with a Scottish esports team, it's a massive thing for us. You know, it's a really big deal for us to be able to support back to the communities that we come from.
Oh, definitely, and that is that. Like, it's not. It don't just need to be a Scottish company, or a Scottish organisation, but it just helps a little bit. It's
feels a lot more personal to us.
Exactly.
You know, it definitely suits who Utopia is as a brand, as well as who the teams are.
Like you said, we're proud of being a Scottish company, so it kind of helps. For the big, this is a very first sponsorship. So for the first one, I think it was only right to help out a Scottish company or a Scottish organisation. So I'm really looking forward to it. We've got some. The shirts should be available to us anyway, just a couple of days before. So I'll have the photos and stuff of the shirts. So it's going to be.
So we'll be on top of Ryan to provide us some designs in the future for these shirts, or maybe a wee photo with it. We're on.
I'll model it off. I can do that. I suppose the next thing's probably our kind of talking point we've got just now is the UV printing.
So this is, you know, a big part of what we've been trying to do here is trying to make each of our systems be more customisable, and I think that for a few years we were doing that with our custom paint, and obviously our configurator to actually configure the internal components, but I actually mean the external look of it. We're trying to make that more customisable to the customer, and for years we've been trying to find someone who can do some really good high quality UV prints for us onto our cases or onto the backs of laptops, and we've been really struggling for a few years to find someone who was local and reliable, but I think that Ryan's finally managed to find someone that seems to fit our purpose.
Well, that was it, and I mean, before we even get to show the UV stuff, so I've got a panel here that I can show you, but before this we started doing obviously the paint work and stuff, which worked incredibly well. We had an automotive grade paint, customers absolutely loved it. But it did, again, through COVID and stuff like that, I think it just kind of just fell off the grid. Understandably, there's not going to be many coachworks open, and the ones that we had were very unreliable because they had to deal with other things, which is fine. That's understandable.
Computer case panels were the lowest priority.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we moved on, and luckily I was able to find, I can't remember the company's name, but they're very local. They're probably like a 10-minute drive away from us. The company themselves are really good people all there, get on really well with them, so and they've got some incredible good kit there, and I think the stuff that they provided with us with is just testament to how good their printers are and what we can then do to our customers, what we can provide in terms of customization.
Definitely,
you can easily put on a bit of paint to something, not easily, but it's only going to be one colour. It's not going to be fully customisable, and people then say, oh well, you can just spray paint it on. That's just fine, but it's not going to be that great. This type of stuff you're not going to be able to replicate, not to this standard of quality, and I think I can only just show it for myself.
Yeah, I think it's time for you to show it off, Ryan.
So this is the Pandora with the Battlefield 2042 front panel, and it's not well lit just now just because I've not got the light on, but if I put it here, there we go, that's a bit better. So it is a very, very high quality UV print. So this is not a vinyl. I can only stress that. It's not a vinyl. It's got a little bit of a kind of 3D effect to it as well. If I put my hands over it, over the kind of Battlefield text and the kind of the soldier that's here and his helmet and stuff like that, I can actually feel the bumps on that. And if I had a really good camera, I'd be able to actually show you how good it is. But
yeah, you can definitely see it's almost the enamel style.
Definitely. And this is just one of the first ones that we've done, and also we've got the side panel done as well. It's hard to kind of see, but you've kind of got a little kind of bit of the Utopia logo. You've got the Kingston logo there as well,
and a slight gradient.
Through it. It's kind of. You kind of see it.
Almost Northern Lights.
Almost. So that's just one game that we've done. I mean, you can literally send us anything. You can get a picture of your cat. You can send. I don't know what you want to send, but literally anything. Your favourite game, your favourite car, that type of stuff. Pastime. Anything. And a camping thing. You could always do something like that. A place that you like to go. you could easily do that, and you can have that on and make it literally make it yours. That's not just something off the shelf. You can go to other companies and do this, and it's quite inexpensive compared to the paintwork that we used to do as well. So, and it's an easier process.
How much would we be offering the front panel to be painted for?
So that's kind of under
NDA at the moment.
Under NDA just now.
So we're not ready to speak about that yet.
Not yet.
Once we are, then we'll let you know.
Well, paintwork was £250, I think it was, roughly that time, and it's nowhere near that. But and the time frame added on to the paintwork was about a week to 2 weeks. We can get this done in a day, and it's, to give it a sec, the printer that does this, the guy said I think it was £57,000 for the printer alone. So obviously he needs to kind of pay for that and his time. So it's not to say it's inexpensive, and it's not to say it's super expensive. It's not going to be £250 to do something like this. There's no chance that's going to happen. But it'll be affordable to make it yours. It'll probably be cheaper than the case. Let's be honest, to be completely honest. So,
well, once we've got the figures completely jotted down and approved by our accountant, we'll let you know.
Exactly. But I suppose there's another thing in here as well, so I may as well talk about it. Hold on. Right, I'll leave it there, but we'll bring it up So, the next thing is...
The next big thing.
And it's not even just a Utopia thing, it's just a global thing, is the launch of the 12th gen Intel CPUs.
Now, I'm really excited about this because for years Intel were the top of the game and there was no competition at all. And then AMD came out with the new Ryzen stuff about 3 years ago now, maybe 3-4 years ago. And that really changed the market, and I don't think Intel up to this point have really brought out something that really competes against it. So I'm really excited to see if the innovation of it's finally caught up with that competition, to show that Intel are finally ready to put something new in the market.
Well, I think that's the thing as well. Like you said, AMD is completely dominant, and we've seen that in our sales. Like we've barely. Usually it was maybe 50-50 when I first started anyway, which was 12, 11 years ago, whatever it was a 50-50, but then Intel started to sneak away. They were top of their game. AMD just could not
budge them. Became 90-10 for a while.
So now it was maybe a couple of years ago it was maybe 75-25, but I think this last year it's probably been a lot lower than that. But like you said, I'm excited for this as well as you for these new chips, because they're going to be extremely efficient, which is one thing, and extremely powerful as well, because it's using very similar architecture to how Apple have done their new silicon. So they've got the processing really high end cores, and then they've got the really economical cores. So I think the top end one, which is the 12900K, I think it is, that's got 8 CPU cores, like professional, like high end ones. So it's got 8 high end cores, and then another 8 eco cores, so 16 in total. So I think you need Windows 11 though to fully utilise the eCores, don't you? Yeah.
They're a kind of newer feature, and my PC sadly doesn't support it, so maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for a wee upgrade.
Possibly. But the other thing, obviously, on top of that is the memory. So Ddr5 has now came out, which is again another massive thing. So not only is the power efficiency going to be great, the performance is going to be high end, and then we've got Ddr5, which on top of that is just going to help Intel, especially just now, when it gets released. I think it's the 5th of November. I think the sales are going to they're going to start to level out with AMD soon. So
I always think it's exciting, especially when you get a new chip like this, because obviously for years now, Intel, although they've moved the pins, has pretty much stayed at that same size of chip, and this chip's a lot bigger. So you hope that they've really taken that space into consideration, and that's the reason why they've went for that, because they're going to give us that extra performance. So moving to something like Ddr5 at the same time, it's a no-brainer. You're getting a massive jump in performance already, and we haven't even seen that many benchmarks yet. But from what we can see, it's a massive jump.
So that's the thing we're all excited about. We'll get obviously some test benches and stuff like that sorted out soon. Also, we can't disclose any of the benchmarks that we do get, but it'll be exciting to have a play around and see what we've got and what Intel can now bring to AMD, because obviously they've got the 5950X.
Yep.
which is their kind of top end consumer grade CPU. I think the 12900K. I need these numbers, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is
12900K. That's
then
16
there's a
cores.
KF.
We'll leave
that one, just the two.
The top one. We'll talk about the top one. That's going to compete against that, and that's been at the top of its game for a year and a half, however it came out. Whenever it came out, it just dominated Intel, and it destroyed them. Let's be honest. So it'll be good to see the Intel kind of kick back.
That competition actually starting to innovate some new technology.
Aye, hopefully. Well, that's the hopeful. And so this is the Ddr5 memory they'll be able to put in. So it's very similar. It's got the same amount of pins as DDR4, but you physically cannot put it into a slot.
The slot, I would say the actual cutout and the RAM is slightly closer to the centre with DDR5 than it is with DDR4. DDR4 you're just slightly off centre, whereas DDR5 you're pretty much bang on centre. So although it has the same amount of pins, it does mean we're going to need new motherboards to support it because it doesn't fit in standard DDR4 slots. For a while some people were thinking that you'd be able to mix and match, but it's definitely it's a new pin layout.
No,
so
although
it's the same amount.
You can what am I saying here? You can put DDR4 on certain motherboards. So the new chipset is going to be Z490. Z490. 6. Z690. I think nice number there. So we've got Z690 coming out, and some of the boards with Asus and stuff like that do support DDR4, but no. Let's be honest, if you're going to be buying the kind of top range stuff,
if you need a new board and a new processor because it doesn't fit your socket, there's no point going for DDR4.
You may as well, unless I don't think so.
I don't think so. I really don't. Unless you get 64 GB of RAM that you bought a week ago and it's never went out of the system. That's the only reason I can think that not future-proofing yourself if you're going to go for a new motherboard and processor. So the difference in memory, I remember still when I started working here, we were working with DDR2, which is 800 megahertz. So what does this come in at?
So this is the lowest end one as well, and this is running at 4800 megahertz. It's a fast boy.
It's a fast boy.
Funnily enough, also as I kind of said before the podcast, it says Intel and AMD on the packaging.
So that could mean some secret news for future that we don't even know about.
I definitely don't know about it unless I've got some emails that I've never read. But I've not got anything. The only thing is the timings are a little bit very loose. So usually you'd be in your teens. You get a CL 38, 38, 38. On DDR4 you get CL 16 and I don't know 18 or something like that. It's very low. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're very low. They're in the high end teens, so it just means they're very loose. The reasoning for that is I don't actually know 100%. I did watch a video about it, but I can't be 100% sure. I'd need to go back on it. But there's reasons behind it. And it's not to say that they're going to be slower than DDR4 on certain things. They're not. They're 100% faster than DDR4 on all fronts. So the only thing is they're expensive. So as
with any new technology.
It's going to be expensive, so you're going to have to dig deep in your pockets if you do want to go for the new Intel stuff. The only kind of good side from it is the 12900K is cheaper than the 5950X. Can't remember how much.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got an amount?
I can't remember exactly how much. I think I can actually disclose how much, but it is cheaper. But I think in the grand scheme of things, I think the actual overall bundle. So
by the time you put it in a package,
motherboard, memory, and the CPU alone, I think they'll be either very close to each other, or they'll be bouncing off each other's kind of like very close to each other. But we're really excited. We will have them hopefully available at launch. So 5th of November they'll be available from us, and it'll be exciting stuff, I think.
Brilliant.
I'm really looking forward to it.
No, I'm really looking forward to that new launch, and obviously keep an eye on the website, keep an eye on our YouTube and our Facebook pages, and I'm sure we'll be updating you with some images and some benchmarks as the embargoes start to get lifted and when NDAs are no longer needing signed.
Definitely.
So I think the last thing that I wanted to speak to you about, Ryan, is just about some gaming. We are a gaming company, so every staff member in here plays games in their own time, and we all play different games. But a big thing that
wide mix actually, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. It's especially the members of the team have definitely they've got all different gaming skills. So yeah, the thing I wanted to speak to you about was obviously we're now seeing more and more PS4 games or PlayStation Studio games starting to appear on PC. So this is setting a precedent for how it's going to be going forward. Moving into where PS5 and where actual next gen releases where they're actually only coming to the PS5. Do you think that they're going to also get launched on the PC at the same time, or do you think it's going to be a delayed release? God of War for PS4 was 2018 it was released, and we're not seeing it in PC to 2022. Is that just the start of the floodgates and it's all going to open, or are we going to see more games like this in the future?
Well, if you look at it in terms of Xbox, then I think it might actually happen at some point, because obviously you've got the release of Halo, which is coming out on PC and Xbox in the same day.
Yep.
So I think
the Xbox Game Pass has really helped pull everything together.
Exactly.
Your Windows gaming and your Xbox gaming. It's pretty much pulled it all into the one ecosystem.
Aye. No, I think that's maybe what PlayStation either want to do, but I certainly think they should do it. They should really be going to try and push for that, because they probably have lost a lot of members or people buying just a PS4 or PS5 purely from the Xbox experience, because let's be honest, if you're going to spend £12 I think it is a month,
I think
to
it's
get
15 now,
15
but yeah,
now, aye, whatever it was,
hundreds of games,
you've got access to a massive library, and you can play the games either on your Xbox and your PC, and you don't even really need that's a complete no-brainer in my head. I've got the Game Pass there for Black 4 Blood. I got it just for that. So and that's £15 a month, but it still is great. I can then look to the library and I was like, to be fair, that's actually a cracking library.
That is. It's one of the best game libraries, because I've got PS5, so I have PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus, but the games that are available on that, although you're getting your PlayStation exclusives, which are great, the PlayStation Studio games, I think they've made some of the best story games over the past 10 years or so.
I've won what was it? What's the one? I can't remember the name of it now. What do you do in
it?
You're the guy and the little girl.
Last of Us.
Aye. I'd want to see that on PC.
Yeah, I think it will come alongside.
If that comes out on PC, I would 100% buy that. I'm not really sure. I played God of War at yours and it looked cracking.
God of War, it was amazing. It's an amazing story player game. The new Spider-Man game, which is also a PlayStation. It's they're both. You've got that, and you've got Miles Morales and the standard Spider-Man, but they're both Insomniac, which is now PlayStation Studios as well. Same people that made Crash Bandicoot.
Oh right.
So I think.
I genuinely do hope they do bring it out. I hope they start to bring out the Sony exclusive PC games. Sony exclusive games out for PC. I think that would make a lot of sense. It will start to then. I think it will then take away that whole culture that I think the PC players have. Is we're PCMR, that type of stuff it is, but I don't think. I think that by doing this, you're then collaborating with Sony's, then collaborating, Xbox then collaborating with PC gamers and showing them actually we've got some amazing games that you can now play. You don't need to buy a console, this inferior device.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think it actually plays into the PC Master Race argument rather than the other way around, because they're like, just have them on your good computers. Yeah. You don't need to buy one of our consoles. You can just have them anyway. Exactly. You saw the Master Race.
So hopefully that then stops that stigma that's going to go around, because let's be honest, it's not a nice thing to say. It's not nice to say, you've got a console, you're a terrible gamer or something like that. But it's not. It's fine. It's completely normal thing to have. Some people might not be able to afford a PC, or some people might not, would prefer just to sit back on their couch and just play PC console games.
Well, every one of us that's a PC gamer started as kids as console gamers most of the time.
Aye.
Again, another thing I wanted to speak to you about was the release of the trailer for the new Grand Theft Auto Definite Edition for the first 3 Grand Theft Autos. Now, that was our childhood. I grew up in Vice City and San Andreas. I didn't grow up in Kilmarnock. They made me the man I am today. And, looking at the trailers for them, although I'm really excited to see them again, I was also still slightly disappointed at just the fact that the character models, they still do look like models, actually 3D printed models rather than humans. And when you look at something like Red Dead Redemption 2 and you can see what Rockstar can really do, it just shows you that they haven't spent maybe as much time as I would have liked to upgrade it.
But then does that make you think that they're maybe working on GTA
Well, they are obviously. They've had enough job things on all the boards that I'm but yeah, they're definitely working on GTA 6, and I think that you have to take into consideration that is taking most of the time from the company. But I would just like to know what other people think as well. You know, are they impressed by what they see as probably most people's childhood games, or most people around our age of late 20s? That was the games that we all grew up to.
Would you go back to it as well? Would you want to go back and play it in the PC and maybe try and relive that a little bit? Because I done it with Halo and I wasn't that impressed, because I played Halo 1 with was it Legendary Edition, whatever it is, and you played all the old games. You can go skip back to the old graphics and then the updated ones. The updated graphics were great.
Yeah, Halo did, I think, do a good job of replacing the models and stuff. I think that was pretty good.
But I think it was just a one-off. You play it once and that's it. Like, I don't think I actually even completed it, to be fair. So I think you get a little bit of nostalgia, and I think that's great. But how much are they going to charge you for it? And is it worth that nostalgia? Is it worth just paying what, £60 or whatever it's going to be? Yeah,
$60 for 3 games, so you're paying about 20 a game. I think Halo had the same kind of release structure where you were getting, I think it was 4 games in the Master Chief Collection for the same price as one game that you would pay for nowadays with a AAA release. So, I don't think the pricing's too bad at the end of the day. I just think that, you are right. When you go back and play these stories, even go back in, like when Mafia 2 was remastered as well. Like, I remember playing that for so long when I was younger, but going back to look at that story again now, it feels quite clunky. The dialogue isn't great, the mouse aren't moving. You're kind of like, I became a gaming snob over the years. We've moved on from that.
The technology has went so far ahead from what it was then. You're now used to these easily adaptable and usable controls that you then go and play. Like, if you went to play Crash Bandicoot back in the day, that was actually terrible to play. It was
a big part of the hardness of the controls.
It was terrible.
I played the new remaster of that as well, and the controls are still hard. I was still angry.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what Sony can actually do and what they can provide. If they can provide the same kind of caliber as what Xbox have done, and if they can, great. It's only going to be great for PC gamers. It's going to be great for console gamers, and it might even bring in more games that are cross-platform. You can then play with each other, which would be a massive thing.
I would love to see some more cross-platform save stuff as well. I sometimes buy something on the PC, on Steam, and then I play it on the PlayStation just because it's more convenient, but I don't have any of my saves and all that kind of stuff. So it would be nice to see that more, and it's happening more with Games Pass, so hopefully it might happen more between platforms as well.
No, I'm looking forward to it. And I think we can leave that at that there for this one. So
just a wee quick first one.
Aye, quick one. Just a wee quickie, just to kind of test the waters and make sure we can. The sound's good, the cameras are good. But it's been good. Been good.
Yeah,
to speak to you.
Thanks chatting with me today, Ryan.
We always chat about random stuff.
We always chat about random stuff, but it's nice to do it in a professional environment.
Aye,
so thanks very much, everyone.
Yes.
Like and subscribe.
Yes, obviously like and subscribe.